Okay, you guys, this is lesson 13-2, our first introduction to the unit circle. I'm going to try to take this slow. There's a lot of information, so feel free to pause or rewind the video, or definitely email me with any questions you may have. So it's going to take a little bit, but we're going to use what we learned with our angles in standard position. Now we're going to apply it to the unit circle. Okay, so the unit circle is literally a circle. Okay, and we're going to place the center of that circle right at the origin. Okay, so if I have, again, my angle, this is my initial end, and this would be my terminal end. And we're going to either rotate in a positive direction or we're going to rotate in a negative direction. Okay. All right, so my radius of the unit circle is 1. So if I move around in a counterclockwise direction, okay, this point is going to be the point 0, 1. Okay, this point is going to be the point 0, 2, and that would be just like us plotting a point on the coordinate graph. Okay, if this is my x and my y, 0, left and right, and I go up 1 unit. All right, so on a number line on this y-axis, this would be 1. All right, this point would represent -1, 0, and then 0, -1. All right, so once again, this radius of the unit circle is always 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up rotating around the unit circle and filling in. This is the actual unit circle. See if I can zoom out here a little bit, that we're going to use, and we're going to fill in. We're going to rotate and travel around the unit circle and filling out all the degrees and the coordinates, and these are called radians. We'll talk about that. All right, so I'll try to take it as slow as I can, but feel free to pause or rewind the video if you need to. Okay, all right, so let's go down here. Because the radius is 1, we can directly measure the sine, cosine, tangent. Just remember, guys, those are our trig identities, right? Sine, opposite over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Now, we use these with a right triangle, okay? Now watch. Okay, if I have this angle and I drop down this leg, that creates a 90-degree angle. All right, so we can find these 3 legs, or these 2 legs, because we know what this one is, these 2 legs, and that's going to give us our coordinates of wherever we are around the unit circle. All right. All right, so I made these up. If you guys remember, these are our 2 special right triangles. We have the 45, 45, 90, okay, and we have the 30, 60, 90. And the relationships, remember, okay, this is S, okay, S root 2, and then this would be S, 2S, and S root 3. Well, if I know that my hypotenuse is 1, then these 2 legs are going to be root 2 over 2, and then root 2 over 2. And the same thing over here, if this hypotenuse is 1, okay, this is going to be 1/2, because this is 2 times whatever this is. So this is 1/2, this is 1. And this is S root 3. Remember how we rationalized that denominator? So that becomes root 3 over 2. Now, with the unit circle, you're going to see 1, root 2 over 2, 1/2, and root 3 over 2 many, many, many times. They're going to repeat, and you're going to see the pattern and become familiar with that pattern, okay? So those, we're going to use those triangles, those special right triangles, okay? All right, so because radius is 1, we can directly measure the sine, cosine, tangent. All right, and you guys can read through this. You have these notes on Schoology. All right, what I want you guys to remember, all right, any of these ordered pairs is going to be the cosine is the x coordinate and the sine is the y coordinate. Very important. All right, and the more you work with that, the more that you'll remember that. But cosine is the x, sine is the y coordinate. All right, okay, so let's go down here. See if we can put this into action a little bit. And this is, I'm going to show you with these two examples how we came up with these values. All right, so if we know that the hypotenuse is 1, okay, so this is 1, all right, and then the shortest leg opposite the 30 is going to be 1/2 that, or just 1/2, all right, and then this right here, remember this ratio is s root 3. So what that means is that this is s, okay, s is 1/2. This would be 1/2 times root 3. Well, really what that is 1/2 times root 3 over 1. If you multiply that, you get root 3 over 2. So that's where we get root 3 over 2. And we're going to leave it like that. Okay, we're going to leave it like that. Okay, all right. If we go over here to this one, all right, again, we know that this is 1, and this is going to be my s root 2. So if s root 2 is equal to 1, remember what we're going to do? We're going to rationalize. See if you guys remember that term, rationalize the denominator. You get s equals. All right, now to rationalize this, we multiply by the denominator, root 2 over 2, okay? Or root 2 over root 2. So we get root 2 over 2. And that's for both of these sides. So this is just showing you where this came from. Okay? All right, so let's flip it over to the back of your notes and see if you guys can follow along with me, okay? It says use a unit circle below to determine the sine values and cosine values of the angles, okay, whose reference angle is 30 degrees, okay? So you guys remember what that reference angle is. The reference angle is the angle that's created with the terminal side. So for example, if we used, let's say this one right here, okay? This is my initial side. This is my terminal side. If I rotate it up, okay, this would be 30 degrees, okay? 30 degrees. So if it's almost like I'm taking this and laying it, it's way too big, but laying it right there, okay? All right, so if I drop down that leg, create a 90-degree angle, okay? You know that the length of this radius is 1. Okay, the length of the shortest side right here, this side, is going to be 1/2. And this side is going to be root 3 over 2. Now, I know you're asking me, well, you know, how do you find those? Well, that's just what we did right here. That's how, that's how we found those 3 values. All I'm doing is I took this triangle and I rotated it like that. All right, so if you can kind of visualize that. All right, so what that means is, okay, the coordinate of that point right there, think about, this is the origin. How far did I move to the right? I went what? Root 3 over 2 to the right, and I went up. How far? 1/2. Okay? And just to make sure, this x coordinate is the cosine and the sine. Okay? All right, now what happens if I were to take this point and I were to reflect it right straight over there? All right, just think about this. All right, if I drop down the leg and I create this reference angle, well, this angle is still going to be what? 30 degrees. All right, we're still going up 1/2, but instead of going out positive root 3 over 2, oops, we're going out negative root 3 over 2. All right, so this would be negative, I keep doing that, negative root 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. All right, it's a negative. Remember, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, 3, and quadrant 4, okay? All right. All right, if I were to take this point and rotate it straight down here, reflect it over that x-axis, okay? I've got this angle right here, which is still a 30, 60, 90, right? So instead of going up 1/2, I went down 1/2. And this is still, this distance right here is still the negative root 3 over 2. So this point is going to be negative root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So this is a negative and a negative in this quadrant. All right, and then one more time, if I were to reflect that point over here, or this time reflecting over that y-axis, I've just created that angle. And again, this is still a 30-degree angle in here. So this is going to be, now I'm still going, to get to this point, I got to go positive root 3 over 2, but this time I'm going down 1/2. So if you notice, you guys look at all 4 of these points on the unit circle have the same values. The only thing that's different are the signs. Quadrant 1, you're going to have plus plus. Quadrant 2, minus plus. Negative negative down here. And then down here, you're going to have a plus and a negative. All right? All right. So you can keep that straight with those. Okay, all right, let's look over here. Use the unit circle below to determine the sine values and cosine values of the angles at 60 degrees. Okay, so again, I'm gonna start here at my initial end, but this time I'm gonna rotate 30, 60. So I'm gonna look at those 4 points, okay? All right, if I draw my terminal end, and I drop down that leg, okay, that's going to create a 90-degree angle, so I'm going to have a 60, 30, 90. All right, so this leg, it's just the same thing. I know I don't have the other side of it, but instead of going, well, the opposite, we know that this hypotenuse is 1, so this side is going to be 1/2, and this side's going to be what? Root 3 over 2. All right, so the coordinates, I hope you guys are staying with me, the coordinates of this point, I went to the right, 1/2, and I went up root 3 over 2. Again, notice it's the same values, all right, just they're in different spots. This is the cosine, and this is the sine. All right, rotate it over here. And again, if I drop that leg down, I create myself a 30, 60, 90. All right, and this is still going up, root 3 over 2. And this time I went negative, negative 1/2. Okay, so the coordinates of this is negative 1/2. Positive root 3 over 2. So from the origin, I went over negative 1/2, and I went up root 3 over 2. Down here, again, I'm just reflecting. I'm reflecting this triangle this way over that x-axis. So this is going to be negative root 3 over 2 because I'm going down. All right, and I still went negative. So it's going to be a negative and a negative, right? Just like we said over here, anything in this quadrant is going to be a negative and a negative. So negative 1/2, and then I'm going down root 3 over 2. And the last one, reflect it over here. All right. Again, this is another 30, 60, 90. This is negative root 3 over 2. And we want 1/2. So we're going over 1/2, down root 3 over 2. Over 1/2, down root 3 over 2. Okay, so far, this is what we've got. We've got all of our 30-degree angles around the unit circle, reference angles, and then we have our 60, okay? 60. The only one that we don't have are these ones in the middle, and that's this right here. These are the 45s, okay? So 45. So we're talking about 45, 45, 45, 45. So if I were to draw this here, okay, and I rotated up 45 degrees, okay? If I were to drop that down, now I have a 45, 45, 90, all right? Okay, so you know that this side is 1, and these two sides for 45, 45, 90 is going to be root 2 over 2. Okay? So that means that, again, I know that I'm in quadrant 1, so it's going to be a plus and a plus. Root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. Now you guys could rotate and make these triangles all around, okay? Or if you got the pattern already, both of these coordinates are going to be root 2 over 2. It's just this one's going to be a negative because we're going negative direction here and we're going up. Same thing down here. This is going to be root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, but I'm in this quadrant, so it's going to be a negative and a negative. All right, and then the last one over here is going to be, for this spot right there, is going to be root 2 over 2, negative root 2 over 2, because we're going over and then we're going down root 2 over 2. All right, so it's very helpful, guys. Right now, if you take, and I think I gave you one of these. If not, I'll put one on Schoology. Take your unit circle, print one off the internet. This is where I got this one from. All right, but you can go through and use these values, use those values, all right, and plug them into your unit circle. So you have, for example, root 3 over 2, 1/2. Now you can make yours look a little neater than mine. All right. So for this one, which is the, this is the 60. This is the 45 degree, right? So 45 degree at this point is root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. And you guys can go around, all right, and fill all those in. And you can also go around your unit circle, all right, and fill in the degrees, 30, 45, 60. We all know that this was what? 90, because you keep on adding. So this is 30, so this is 120. Okay, this is 135. All right, add another what? 15, so this is one. Oops, now I put them in the wrong spot, but you should put them here with the degrees, but you get it, 150. And 180, 210 degrees, 240 degrees, 270, all the way around. And you can fill in the ones in the middle there too, okay? Or the 45 degrees. But fill all those in. That's going to help you guys when you're using the unit circle. Or if you want to save some time, guys, go online. They have tons of these. Go online, print one off that's already all filled in, and use that as a reference. Okay. All right. Let's look. For time's sake, guys, I'm going to end this one right here, and then I'll put part 2 on as well.